لی پڑھ کر دعا دی ہے، میری ماں نے مجھے نادے لی پڑھ کر دعا دی ہے، میرا بچہ غلام حضرت عباس ہو جائے، میرا بچہ غلام حضرت عباس ہو جائے۔ برائے خوشنودی شہزادی سکینہ بلند ترین صلوات۔ سب مل کے میرا ساتھ دیجیے گا۔ عباس عباس یا بالفضل العباس، عباس عباس یا بالفضل سکائے حرم رکھ لیں نہ بھرم، سکائے حرم رکھ لیں نہ بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں، تم بھی نہیں ہم کو ٹھکرانا، تم بھی نہیں ہم کو ٹھکرانا، ہم دنیا کے ٹھکرائے ہیں، عباس عباس یا بالفضل اللہ، اب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے، ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے، اب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے، ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے، تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو، تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو، ہم غم سے بہت گھبرائے ہیں، عباس عباس یا بالفضل اللہ، اشکوں کی زبان پہچانتے ہو، جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو، ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو، ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو، بس ہاتھوں کو پھیلائے ہیں، عباس عباس یا بالفضل اللہ، مولا 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 تم باب حوائج ہو، روزے بے ہمیں بھی بلوا لو، مولا تم باب حوائج ہو، روزے پہ ہمیں بھی بلوا لو، غربت کے سبب جو آ نہ سکے، غربت کے سبب جو آ نہ سکے، ہم ان کے عریض لائے ہیں، عباس عباس یا بالفضل خاک کے تماچے روتی ہے، زندان کی خاک پہ سوتی ہے، بجھ جائے پیاس سکینہ کی، ہم آنکھ کے آنسو لائے ہیں، عباس عباس یا بالفضل العباس۔ دربار سخی عباس کا تھا، کچھ مانگ نہ تھا لازم مانگا، دربار سخی عباس کا تھا، کچھ مانگ نہ تھا لازم مانگا، لیکن یہ حقیقت بھی ہے قمر، لیکن یہ حقیقت بھی ہے قمر، ہم پرسہ دینے آئے ہیں، عباس عباس یا بالفضل العباس، سکائے حرم رکھ لیں نہ بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں۔ برائے خوشنودی غازی سرکار ابو الفضل العباس علمدار حسین، بلند ترین صلوات۔
صلی اللہ علیہ محمد و آل محمد۔ خاک پر زینب گری، خاک پر زینب گری، جب بھی ردائے مانگ کے اس قدر گرتا رہا، نیزے سے سر عباس کا، جتنے پتھر شام کی راہوں میں زینب کو لگے، اس قدر گرتا رہا، نیزے سے سر عباس کا، اشکیا کہتے تھے ہنس کر، ہم نے کاٹے ہیں وہ ہاتھ جو مٹاتے تھے تمہارے نقش پا کو ساتھ ساتھ، طرز کے یہ تیر بھی، طرز کے یہ تیر بھی، زینب کے جب دل پر لگے اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے سے سر عباس کا، جس کی خاک پاک و غازی نے تھا پردے میں رکھا، بعد غازی کے وہ زینب ہو گئی جب بیردار، شام کی جانب قدم، شام کی جانب قدم زینب کے جب بڑھنے لگے، اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے سے سر عباس کا، کربلا کی خاک پر دو بازو اٹھ اٹھ کر گرے، لاش تڑپی القمہ پر بھی سکینہ کے لیے، اور تماچے جس قدر، اور تماچے جس قدر بچی کو لگتے ہی رہے، اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے سے سر عباس کا، زخم خود ہی پڑ رہے تھے مرثیہ زنجیر پر، شام کا قیدی مگر روتا رہا تشہیر پر، جس قدر بازار میں، جس قدر بازار میں سجاد کے آنسو گرے، اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے سے سر عباس کا، نو کے نیزے پر تھا قرآن بے و تفسیر تھی، وار سے زہرا کے سارے شام میں تشہیر تھی، جس قدر تڑپا وہاں، جس قدر تڑپا وہاں سجاد پردے کے لیے، اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے سے سر عباس کا، خون کے آنسو بہا کر بولے وہ قیدی ماں، سیدہ زینب کہاں ہے کہاں بازار شام، خم کمر کو تھام کر، خم کمر کو تھام کر جب یہ کہا سجاد نے، اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے پہ سر عباس کا، کیسے لکھوں میں قیامت جیسا وہ منظر سہا، شام کے بازار میں جب روئے بنتے ابو تراب، جس قدر بھی سیدہ، جس قدر بھی سیدہ نے غم سہا روتے ہوئے، اس قدر گرتا کا جتنے پتھر شام کی راہوں میں زینب کو لگے اس قدر گرتا رہا نیزے سے سر عباس کا صلی اللہ علیہ محمد و آل محمد.
بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات. اللہ اے باد صبا جا کے یہ اموں کو بتانا پیاسی ہے سکینہ. اے باد صبا جا کے یہ اموں کو بتانا پیاسی ہے سکینہ. اس چھوٹے سے سینے میں یہ ستم میں نے اٹھائے اللہ کسی کو نہ یتیم ایسا بنائے خود اپنے لہو میں کوئی بچی نہ نہائے میں تم کو بلاتی رہی تم بھی تو نہ آئے میں بن گئی بعد عصر لعینوں کا نشانہ پیاسی ہے سکینہ. ایک رسی میں ہم سب کے گلے باندھ کے ادا کرتے ہوئے تشہیر چلے جانب کوفہ اور اس پہ مصیبت تھا یہ قد چھوٹا تھا میرا اٹھتی جو پھوپھیاں تو گلا کھینچتا تھا میرا گردن کا میرے زخم چچا دیکھنے آنا پیاسی ہے سکینہ. ایک رسی میں ہم سب کے گلے باندھ کے ادا کرتے ہوئے تشہیر چلے جانب کوفہ اور اس پہ مصیبت تھا یہ قد چھوٹا تھا میرا اٹھتی جو پھوپھیاں تو گلا کھینچتا تھا میرا گردن کا میرے زخم چچا دیکھنے آنا پیاسی ہے سکینہ. 4 سال کی بیٹی پیاسی بی بی سکینہ کو یاد کرتے ہیں. پانی کی طلب مجھ کو کھلاتی رہی ٹھوکر، کہتا تھا نہیں دوں گا میں فوجوں کو پلا کر. جب شمر لے کر چکا سیرابی لشکر، دکھلا کے مجھے پھینک دیا پانی زمین پر. تب سمجھی میں کیا ہوتا ہے پانی کی طلب مجھ کو کھلاتی رہی ٹھوکر، کہتا تھا نہیں دوں گا میں فوجوں کو پلا کر. جب شمر لے کر چکا سیرابی لشکر، دکھلا کے مجھے پھینک دیا پانی زمین پر. تب سمجھی میں کیا ہوتا ہے امید دلا. انور یہ صدا پر چم عباس سے آئی. مولا عباس کے 2 کٹے بازو کے صدقے سے مولا ہماری سب کے حاجات کو قبول فرمائیں. انور یہ صدا پر چم عباس سے آئی، میں بھول نہیں سکتا سکینہ میری بچی. کاٹے گئے بازو میرے مجبور تھا بی بی، مشکی ظالم میں ہے لگا دیکھ لے ابھی. پرچم کا میرے کام ہے دنیا کو بتانا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أفمن يعلم أنما أنزل إليك من ربك الحق كمن هو أعمى إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب الذين يوفون بعهد الله ولا ينقضون الميثاق والذين يصلون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويخشون ربهم ويخافون سوء الحساب والذين صبروا ابتغاء ابتغاء وجه ربهم وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية ويدرؤون بالحسنة السيئة أولئك لهم عقبى الدار جنات عدن يدخلونها ومن صلح من آبائهم وأزواجهم وذرياتهم والملائكة يدخلون عليهم من كل باب سلام عليكم بما صبرتم فنعم عقبى الدار والذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك لهم اللعنة ولهم سوء الدار الله يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر وفرحوا بالحياة الدنيا وما الحياة الدنيا في الآخرة إلا متاع صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Is he then who knows that what has been revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, like him who is blind? Only those possessed of understanding will mind. Those who fulfill the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do not break the covenant, and those who join that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bidden to be joined, and have awe of their Lord and fear the evil reckoning. And those who are constant seeking the pleasure of their Lord and keep up prayer and spend out of what we have given them secretly and openly, and repel evil with good, as for those they shall have the happy issue of the abode, the gardens of the perpetual abode, which they will enter along with those who do good from among their parents and their spouses and their offsprings. And the angels will enter in upon them from every gate. Peace be upon you, because you are constant. How excellent is then the issue of the abode. And those who break the covenant of Allah after its confirmation, and cut asunder that which Allah has ordered to be joined, and make mischief in the land, as for those, upon them shall be a curse, and they shall have the evil issue of the abode. Allah amplifies and straightens the mean of subsistence for whom He pleases, and they rejoice in this world's life. And in this world's life is nothing compared to the hereafter, but a temporary enjoyment. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The verses that were recited were from Surah Al-Ra'd, verses 19 to 26. Our theme today is loyalty. The general messages of the verses recited is that whoever is loyal and fulfills their promises and pledges with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do what they are commanded, they shall be rewarded with everlasting gardens of paradise, and it will be said to them, peace be upon you, how excellent is your final abode. We should imagine how happy and how high of an achievement that is, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you this respect and he greets you and invites you in such a way. Loyalty is the noblest characteristics that can be found in a human being. Why is it the noblest? Because it is made of three major qualities that are very essential to a human being. Number one being obedience, number two being submission, and number three, the sincerity towards whom we are loyal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An-Nisa verse 59 says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. So the people we should be loyal towards is that we should have loyalty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His messenger, and the divine leader, that is the one in authority, ulil amri. The day of Ashura was a day full of loyalty to Allah, His messenger, and the Imam of the time. In the entire history, we cannot find an example of loyalty to an extent of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. There is a beautiful phrase we recite in his ziyarah. Ashhadu laka bi taslimi wa tasdiqi wal wafa'i wal nasihati li khalafin nabiyil mursal. I bear witness that you submitted and believed and that you remained loyal to the descendant of the Holy Prophet, Imam al-Hussein. Hazrat Abbas showed us loyalty towards Allah, towards his religion, towards the Imam of his time. When the enemies realized that they could not face this great hero, they offered him safety. It is reported that Shimr Zil-Joshan goes to Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. He says, "Oh Abbas, you are from our tribe. We are offering you and we are promising you safety and protection. Leave Hussein and come to us." What did Hazrat Abbas do? Hazrat Abbas turned their offer down and stayed firm with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is the amount of loyalty Hazrat Abbas had to Imam Hussein. It is also reported in narrations that when his right hand was being cut off by the enemy, he was heard saying, "Wallahi in kata'tuhu yamini, inni uhami abadan an dini, wa an imamin sadiqin yaqini, sibtan nabiyyit tahiril amini." By Allah, if you cut my hand, I will keep defending my religion and the Imam who is certain in faith. O Allah, by the dignity and the honor of Abul Fadl al-Abbas ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen, grant us too the gift of loyalty and service to the Imam of our time and count us among his sincere servants. Allahumma ajil fi faraji maulana sahib az-zaman. Let us all, with the loudest of our voices, promise our loyalty to the Imam of our time. Labbaika ya Mahdi! Labbaika ya Mahdi! Labbaika ya Mahdi! Salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بالحسين عليه السلام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I stand in front of you this evening to make some important announcements as we come closer to the eve of Ashura and the day of Ashura. We have been through various communications, been informing the membership, community, participants of this Azai Hussein that this time it's been a different one. Alhamdulillah, we thank every one of you for the cooperation that you have accorded to our volunteers and the system that we laid out, for which we had to give assurances to the governmental authorities that we will ensure that we heed to their regulations. So thank you very much for that. Important health and safety announcement that I would like to make, and if the media room has the slides, it should be slide number 2, is 2 issues. Bio vaccination ની વાત કરવી છે અને concentrators, oxygen concentrators ની વાત કરી છે. Very quickly, આપણા હિસાબ પ્રમાણે લગભગ 4000થી વધારે આપણા મેમ્બરો કોમ્યુનિટીવાળાએ વેક્સિનેશન લઈ લીધી છે. અલ્હમ્દુલિલ્લાહ, અલ્લાહનો શુકર છે કે જો અતરાફમાં બીમારીનો ભાર છે એ તો કોઈ સંતારવાની વાત નથી, બધાને ખબર છે. પણ આપણી કોમમાં જરાક સહુલિયત છે. બીમાર છે માણસો, બીજાઓને અઝિયતની બીમારી પડે છે, પણ અલ્હમ્દુલિલ્લાહ આપણું એ વિચાર છે કે મેડિકલ એડવાઇઝર્સ સાથે વાત થઈ છે કે આ વેક્સિનેશનથી આપણને થોડુંક નફો મળ્યો છે. તો આપણે જમાત તરફથી પાછળ માંગણી કરે છે કે જે લોકોએ નથી લીધી વેક્સિનેશન, પ્લીઝ રજિસ્ટર કરો. જમાત ડેસ્ક રાખ્યા છે, મને લાગે છે, આઈ એમ નોટ ટુ શ્યોર અબાઉટ મહેફિલમાં જગ્યા નથી. ઇમામ બારગાહના કમ્પાઉન્ડમાં ડેસ્ક રાખેલું છે, પ્લીઝ રજિસ્ટર કરો અને એ વોલન્ટિયર્સ તમને સહુલિયત કરી દેશે. ને હવે તો લોકલી પણ અવેલેબલ છે વેક્સિનેશન. ને આ વેક્સિનેશન ખાલી આપણા માટે નથી, જે આપણા અતરાફમાં છે, આપણા ક્લોઝ છે, એ લોકોને પણ આપણે હોસલો આપે, હમાસીશા કરે કે એ લોકો પણ આ વેક્સિનેશન લે, કારણ કે આ બીમારી ચૂઝ નથી કરતું કે કેને પકડે ને કેને ના પકડે. આપણને એનાઉન્સ કર્યા હતા પ્રેસિડેન્ટ સાહેબ, આ ઓક્સિજન કોન્સન્ટ્રેટર્સ મહિલા છે, વર્લ્ડ ફેડરેશન, આફ્રિકા ફેડરેશન અને અમુક ડોનર એજન્સીઝને ટ્રસ્ટે આ ભેગા થઈને a good amount of concentrators have been. Some of them are already here, some of them are on the way. તો જમાત એક આ સહુલિયત પણ એરેન્જ કરી દીધી છે કે જે લોકોને જરૂર પડે, ઘરોમાં જો ટ્રીટમેન્ટ ચાલતા હોય ને ઓક્સિજનેશનની જરૂર પડે તો જમાત પાસે છે આ સહુલિયત. પણ આપણી એક માંગણી છે કે તમારા ડોક્ટર્સ હેવ ટુ વેલિડેટ ધીસ નીડ. So please, if there is a need of oxygen concentrators to be deployed at home, the Jamaat will help, will facilitate through the medical team, but we will need your doctor to be able to prescribe that. I come to the Ashura program. Ashura program will start inshallah from 18th of August, which is Wednesday. This program normally starts with the Julus of Ashura. Alhamdulillah, we have obtained the permission. This is slide number 3, media room. We have obtained permissions to conduct this julus. However, again, we have to give undertaking. આપણને ધારસ આપવાની છે ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યુશનને કે આપણે સરકારના જે રૂલ્સ છે એ આપણે એડહિયર કરશું. એના પ્રમાણે આ સફરે જુલુસ પણ થોડુંક અલગ તરીકામાં થશે. તો જુલુસનું શરૂઆતનું ટાઈમ સ્ટાર્ટિંગ પોઈન્ટથી શરૂ કરે. મહેફિલ અબ્બાસ અહીંયા જમહૂરી સ્ટ્રીટ ને મહેફિલ અબ્બાસની જે રસ્તો છે એના કોર્નર યા જરાક આગળથી પોલીસ પોસ્ટ પાસેથી શરૂ થશે જુલુસ. ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે ભાઈઓ ટાઈમિંગનું કે 4 વાગે વી વોન્ટ ટુ રિક્વેસ્ટ એવરીબડી શુડ બી સ્ટાર્ટિંગ ટુ મૂવ ટુવર્ડ્સ ધ મહેફિલ સો દેટ એટ 4:30 PM ધ જુલુસ ઇઝ ફ્લેગ્ડ ઓફ. આ સફરે ઇન્શાલ્લાહ કોશિશ છે કે જુલુસમાં પોઝ ના હોય સો દેટ વી કેન કમ્પ્લીટ ઇટ ઇન વન સાયકલ વેરી ક્વિકલી. Because we want to do this in an organized manner, જુલુસમાંથી જે આગળથી આવશે રસ્તા બંધ કરવામાં આવશે, વોલેન્ટિયરો હશે, you will not be allowed to enter the julus from the front. And as I go through the points, you will understand why. એટલે પ્લીઝ જે લોકોને જોઈન થવું છે જુલુસમાંથી, પ્લીઝ યુઝ ધ રોડ ઇન્દિરા ગાંધી ફ્રોમ ધ ઇમામ બારગા. આઈ થિંક ધીસ ઇઝ એશિયા સ્ટ્રીટ, ઇફ આઈ એમ નોટ મિસ્ટેકન, એશિયા કે માલી, વન ઓફ ધેમ. કાં તો ઝનાકીમાંથી એ રસ્તામાંથી અંદર કરીને આ મહેફિલના પછવાડેના ભાગમાંથી આપણે એન્ટર થાય સો દેટ આગળનું સાઈડમાં ડિસ્ટર્બન્સ કાંઈ ના થાય. પાર્ટિસિપન્ટ્સને બધાને એક ઝોન્સમાં ઓર્ગનાઇઝ કરવામાં આવશે. એ ઝોન્સમાં દે વિલ બી લિમિટેડ પીપલ. આ બહુ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે ભાઈઓ, તમારી ફૂલ કોપરેશનની જરૂર પડશે. એ ઝોનમાં એક ફેરે તમને અંદર નાખી લીધા then you can not exit that zone. So the julus will be walking the march of taking Imam Hussein's message will be in a very organized manner this time, because we have to ensure social distancing, we have to ensure everybody is masked. Please, આપણે પબ્લિકમાં છે, among the things that we must all feel is that we have to stand up and show કે ઇમામ હુસૈન કેના માટે ઊભા રહ્યા હતા. આજે આપણને બારવાળા માણસો જોઈ પરકોમ તો એ લોકો they should see કે આ લોકો are not only heeding to the call of their imam, but they are law abiding citizens of this country. So masking, social distancing, J volunteers, sanitization will be at its utmost. ને વધારેમાં વધારે માંગણી છે કે I understand અગવડ થાય છે breathing, we all understand that, but we will have to wear our mask. We are in public, we don't want to appear that we in public are not heeding to the call. આવા સંજોગમાં આપણને રજા મળી જુલુસ કરવાની, આપણને રજા મળી આપણા અઝા બરપા કરવાની, એની અલ્લાહની મહેરબાની છે. Registration for wheelchairs, please. જે લોકોને wheelchairની જરૂરી છે, because this has to be organized to the last moving part. Please, જે લોકોને wheelchairની જરૂર પડે, talk to the volunteers. There is registration desks. આપણા સોશિયલ મીડિયામાં એડ્રેસીસ નંબર્સ નીકળ્યા છે. ઇમામ બારગામાં there must be a desk there. રજિસ્ટર કરો તમારા વ્હીલચેરના એરેન્જમેન્ટ. જે લોકોને જુલુસમાં પાર્ટિસિપેટ કરવું છે ઇન ટર્મ્સ ઓફ અલમ કે કુરાન ઉપાડવા માટે, એનું પણ રજિસ્ટ્રેશન જારી છે. નેક્સ્ટ સ્લાઇડ. આ સ્લાઇડમાં તમને રૂટ દેખાડશું ઉપરનું છે. આ બધું એનાઉન્સમેન્ટ ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ નોટિસ બોર્ડ ઉપર આવશે, બ્લેકબોર્ડ્સ ઉપર આવશે, ને આપણા જે મીડિયાના જે છે વોટ્સએપ ને SMS બધામાં આવશે. આપણે નીકળશું ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ ફ્રોમ ધ મહેફિલ, go down the road. So right from the Mehfil, go down Jamhuri Street all the way, cross DTV into the next roundabout, which is where the big Azam takeaway is. We will turn right into Mkwepu, go all the way to the four ways roundabout. ત્યાંથી પછી એક રસ્તો છે ઇન્દિરા ગાંધીનો, એ નહીં પણ જે પછવારેનો રસ્તો છે પેટ્રોલ સ્ટેશનનું, એ પકડશું. This has been the route of a few julus in the past, so I'm sure everybody can remember that. એ રસ્તો પકડીને આપણે ઉતરશું ઝનાકી સુધી. ઝનાકીમાંથી we will turn right and come back to the Imam Barga. આ સફરે જરાક અલગ છે કે ઇમામ બારગામાંથી we will not head to DTV roundabout again, પણ ત્યાંથી આપણે ઇન્દિરા ગાંધીમાં ઉતરી ને એ જુલુસ ત્યાં ખતમ થશે ઇમામ બારગાના બારે. Julus pachi, next program that starts off is Ashura night. Earlier on announcement થઈ ગયું હતું કે Ashura night નું program also આ સફરે અલગ હશે, અને we are trying the best to arrange facilities that everybody should be able to participate in the Aza of Imam Hussein. program નું શરૂઆત થશે 9:30 વાગે. program નું implementation એમ હશે કે ladies will be given the full compound. આપણી જે મોસ્ક ઇમામ બારગા જે રીતના ડે ટાઈમમાં હમણાં એ લોકો યુઝ કરે છે, એવી રીતના આશુરની રાતના the full compound will be given to the ladies. મગરિબૈનની સલાહ પછી immediately all gents have to vacate that compound. So that compound will be used by the ladies, and inshallah mehfilની building will be given to the ladies. Gents નું program, as I said earlier, 9:30 વાગે program છે. Gents will start at Al-Muntazir complex. હવે Al-Muntazir complex નું I will come high level flow and map, પણ inshallah Al-Muntazir complex માં there are 4 sitting zones that have been arranged. ને program will be as we normally do our programs. શરૂ થશે મરસિયા, Quran recitation, મજલિસ, આશુરાની રાતની મજલિસ inshallah આપણે ઇંગ્લિશમાં સાંભળશું, અને એના પછી માતમ, અને inshallah program ત્યાં ખતમ થશે. Transport arrangement કરી રહ્યા છે આપણે. buses હશે. They will be distributed between the Imam Barga, close to the Imam Barga somewhere, so that we don't disturb the ladies movement. There will be buses that will be stationed around Udoe Mosque for the Karyako residents, and there will be a bus stationed near Kabristan or inside the Kabristan for people je e ilaka mariye છે. And the buses will keep on doing rounds up to reasonable time. So maybe 8:45 na program શરૂ થશે, so maybe the last bus will leave maybe close to around 9 p.m. So એ આશુરની રાતનું program. આશુરનો દિવસનો program inshallah in the same locations. Gents at the Al-Muntazir complex, ladies at the mosque Imam Barga compound and the mehfil. પ્રોગ્રામનું શરૂઆત થશે 10:30 વાગે સવારના, અને એ પ્રોગ્રામ આપણે શરૂ કરશું ઇન્શાલ્લાહ અમાલે આશુરા. આ સફરે અમાલે આશુરા will be abridged version, જરાક shortened version હશે. સો માંગણી કરે છે કે પ્લીઝ ઘરેથી જે 2 રકાત નમાઝ છે અને જે 100 સલામ ને લાનત છે એ પ્લીઝ પરીને આવો, કારણ કે જે મેઇન અમાલ આપણે જે કન્ડક્ટ કરશું એ shortened version of અમાલ હશે. ઇન્શાલ્લાહ 10:30 વાગે અમાલ શરૂ થશે અલ-મુંતઝિર કોમ્પ્લેક્સમાં, ને એના પછી અમાલ પછી ઇન્શાલ્લાહ ઇંગ્લિશમાં મક્તલનું બયાન હશે. મક્તલ એટલે જે રોઝે આશુરનું આખું ઇવેન્ટ છે એનું ઇંગ્લિશમાં બયાન હશે, અને એ આઈ થિંક વિલ ટેક અસ ક્લોઝ ટુ ઝોહરેન નમાઝ. 12:26 મારા હિસાબે ગુરુવારના ઝોહરેનનું ટાઈમ થશે, તો 12:26 ઝોહરેનની નમાઝ સલા જમાત અલ-મુંતઝિર કોમ્પ્લેક્સમાં પઢવામાં આવશે જેન્ટ્સ માટે. લેડીઝ માટે ઇન્શાલ્લાહ મસ્જિદમાં બંદોબસ્ત કરવામાં આવે છે કે એ લોકોની પણ નમાઝે જમાત થાય. 12:50 કે 1:10 મિનિટ 10 minutes to 1. બપોરના ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ રોઝે આશુરાનું બયાન શરૂ થશે. એવી રીતના જશે કે જેન્ટ્સનું અલ મુંતઝિર કોમ્પ્લેક્સમાં ચાલુ હશે પ્રોગ્રામ, લેડીઝ આપણી ઇમામ બારગાને આપણા કમ્પાઉન્ડમાં હશે. પ્રોગ્રામનું જે પ્રોસેસ જે આઇટિનરી હશે સિમિલર હશે મર્સિયા. બયાન પઢવામાં આવશે ઉર્દુમાં ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ. માતમ હશે અને એના પછી અંતમાં ઝિયારત પુરસાની કે તાઝિયાની ઝિયારત પઢવામાં આવશે. એના પછી ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ ટેક અવે ન્યાઝ ડિસ્ટ્રીબ્યુટ થશે અને ભાઈઓ કેન લીવ ફ્રોમ ધ મુંતઝિર કોમ્પ્લેક્સ અને ભાઈઓ વિલ લીવ ધેર પ્રોગ્રામ ફ્રોમ ધ મોસ્ક કમ્પાઉન્ડ. અહીંયા એક ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ એનાઉન્સમેન્ટ છે. આઈ નો લેડીઝ આર નોટ હિયર બટ દે મસ્ટ બી લિસનિંગ ટુ ધીસ બ્રોડકાસ્ટ. ને કદાચ એ લોકોને પ્લીઝ મેસેજ પહોંચાડો કે આશુરના દિવસના પછી they should please vacate all the compounds. ઇમામ બારગાહ, મોસ્ક, મહેફિલ, કારણ કે આ કમ્પાઉન્ડને સેનિટાઇઝ ને ક્લીન હાઇજીન કરવું પડશે for their Majlis of Sham Ghariba, which will be at 4:30 inshallah that afternoon. Again, transport for Ashura Day will be arranged from the same locations near the Masjid compound, at the Qabristan and from the Udoe Mosque. And Baporna inshallah there will be transport also arranged. બપોરનું જે પ્રોગ્રામ હશે એ એવી રીતના ચાલશે. આશુરના દિવસનું લેડીઝની મજલિસ હશે ઇમામ બારગાહમાં અને જેન્ટ્સની કબ્રસ્તાનમાં હશે 4:45 વાગે. શામે ગરીબાની રાત, શામે ગરીબાનું પ્રોગ્રામ શરૂ થશે ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ જેવી રીતના આપણે નોર્મલ પ્રોગ્રામ્સ છે. સો નાવ ધ અર્લિયર પ્રોગ્રામ વોઝ ઓનલી ફોર જુલુસ. આશુરની રાત, આશુરનો દિવસ, શામે ગરીબાની રાત. Programs are coming back to the normal the way we are here. ખાલી ટાઈમ થોડુંક બદલશે. 7 ને ઉપર 10 મગરીબની નમાઝ પછી કરબલા પ્રોજેક્ટમાં મજલિસ હશે. 7:30 વાગે ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ ધ મજલિસ વિલ કન્ટિન્યુ એઝ ઇટ ઇઝ. મહેફિલમાં ઇંગ્લિશની મજલિસ ચાલુ હશે ને ઇમામ બારગાહમાં ઇન્શાઅલ્લાહ ઉર્દુની મજલિસ ચાલુ હશે. અને 12મી રાત ને એ દિવસ જે હશે 20th ઓગસ્ટનું જે પ્રોગ્રામ છે જે અત્યારે છે કે બચ્ચાઓની મજલિસ, લેડીઝની સવારની મજલિસ, સાંજની મજલિસ એ એઝ નોર્મલ વિલ કન્ટિન્યુ ફ્રોમ ધ 11th ડે વિચ વિલ બી 20th ઓગસ્ટ લીડિંગ ટુ 12th ઈવ. અને 12મી રાતની મજલિસ વિલ બી એઝ પર નોર્મલ શેડ્યુલ એન્ડ વી વિલ કન્ટિન્યુ ટુવર્ડ્સ દેટ પ્રોગ્રામ. આશુરાનો એનાઉન્સમેન્ટ માટે પર્ટિક્યુલર એલર્ટ ફોર એવરીબડી. We have been keeping a table outside the Imam Bargah to register elderly self-driving people. જે લોકો elderly છે because the sitting arrangement has been done in such a manner કે આપણા બુઝુર્ગોને એટલી ડિસ્ટન્સ વોક ના કરવું ખપે. વોશરૂમની સહુલિયત બાજુમાં છે. સો elderly self-driving people, please, some of them have already registered. તો તમારા પાર્કિંગ ટોકન્સ અને સ્ટીકર્સ પ્લીઝ ઇમામ બારગાહમાંથી આજે રાતના પ્રોગ્રામ પછી પ્લીઝ પિક કરી લેજો ફ્રોમ ધ ડેસ્ક. જે ફેમિલીઝ પાસે લાર્જ આઉટડોર ફેન્સ હોય, so we are requesting if you can please borrow us for the night of Ashura and the day of Ashura programs for us to use at the Al Muntazir complex. I am asking for large outdoor fans. જે હોય કોઈ ફેમિલીઝ પાસે તો we will appreciate your support in there. જમાતનું એક આ પ્રોગ્રામ માટે ઇન્ફોડેસ્ક આપણે રાખ્યા છે મસ્જિદને ઇમામ બારગાહના બારે. તો કાંઈ પણ ખુલાસો, આઈ એમ સોરી, આઈ એમ બિંગ વેરી ક્વિક. આઈ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ tonight is 8th night and you know it's got relevance to Hazrat Abbas. So I don't want to take a lot of your time. So if there is anything that is missed out of my clarification of the programs, please, there is an info desk that is being set up in the Imam Bargah. Please come and get clarifications that may be needed. All this information and probably a lot more details will be coming out through SMS, Blackboard, WhatsApp and all our social media handles. Bio, આ આશુરાનો પ્રોગ્રામ, જુલુસનું પ્રોગ્રામ આપણને, if we want to do it successfully, we need cooperation with the volunteers. We are very thankful. અત્યારે સુધી the volunteers are also appreciating the support and the cooperation they are getting. એક બે કદાચ બોલાચાલી થઈ ગઈ હશે. I'm sure you can forgive us and I'm sure, you know, if you have erred, we forgive you also. This happens. These are you know, different times. But our program, for it to run, please, we are seeking, again I'm repeating, we need to cooperate with volunteers, particularly Al Muntazirma. There is a particular design and flow of how cars will move and people will move, so that working day છે, United Nations is a busy road, schools will be leaving around the same time. We will need to do this in a very, very particular manner. Media room, I need slide number 5 to be put on board. Okay, I hope you can see this, but inshallah we'll try and get these printouts put on our compounds. So there are 4 sitting areas designated, particularly girls. If people understand the Al-Muntazir complex, UN Road upar apri girls primary, girls secondary છે. Girls primary ni assembly area ma will be the main recitational area. E jagya ma there is limited people who will be able to sit, so it will be based on a first in first seat basis. Okay, તો ત્યાં હશે the main program, girls primary ની assembly area. એના બાજુમાં છે girls seminary ની assembly area, ત્યાં પણ sitting arrangement કરેલું છે. Social distancing na markings hase on the carpets or on the mat, we have to follow that. This is for both the night and the Ashura day program. Girls school ne boys school na compound na wachma there is a prayer salat area of the girls, and there is a small area near the canteen. All that will become sitting area for the gents. Finally, boys school na bare towards the sports ground there is another prayer shed, and there is an area where there is circulation that can be made. That will be sitting area. And then boys school ni secondary school na અંદર જે assembly area છે ઈ ત્યાં પણ arrangement કરવામાં આવ્યું છે. હવે important છે next slide. ગાડીના flow, I think just logical thinking. If every one of us comes from UN Road, we'll be caught with many traffic lights, number 1. Number 2, you'll be turning into. The main parking area is to enter through the girls' primary entrance, go inside, and then go into the parking area. The parking area is between the school and the sports ground, behind the current club. ત્યાં આપણી જે જગ્યા છે, parking area ત્યાં for all of us. The reserved parking is in the Al-Muntazir special needs school માં જે area છે, ત્યાં આપણે બુઝુર્ગોને reserve parking ત્યાં inshallah arrange કર્યા છે. જેટલી છે બાકીની બધી we will divert it on this side. So maybe an option to make ease of movement is that we come down from Tambaza school side of UN Road, so that your turning is easy. You're turning left. You are on the left side of the road and you turn left. So if you want to get dropped and you have got a driver, please get dropped inside the near the Olu Mindu kam Charambe Street no roundabout Chemotu. Get dropped there so that you can walk inside straight on. You get temperature checked, you get sanitized, and then you walk in straight to the areas that are available. Volunteers will be guiding you as per the sitting area that is available. If you are getting dropped from the buses, you will get dropped in the girls' school side on the front of UN Road. If you are coming with your own parking, you will park opposite the secondary school of the girls, and you will enter from that side, and volunteers will guide you how to enter the various sitting areas. So, can I go to the next slide, please? જે UN road side માંથી enter થશે, એ લોકોનું entrance will be across the whole parking. So your entrance gate is at the end. If you're coming from Tambaza, the beginning gate. If you're coming from the Cylinder Bridge, the second gate. That is the entrance. So you will enter you will enter from there. If you're getting dropped off, you will walk. Your first left, you will enter the girls' seminary assembly area. You go further down, you turn left, you will have sitting area on the right hand side, and you can go forward. If there is space available, you can sit in the main bayan recitational area. Otherwise, you will have to then go around. So the sitting area for elderly and the people where we will keep wheelchair spacing, you will have to come in from the Charambe street. Get dropped from the Charambe Mindu area, and then you will be assisted to come in, because there is no flow from the front side into the back side. Those who will be parking at the Charambe, we have got parking arrangement done in the church, and we have requested, I believe by this evening, IST mati pan approval IVSA for the parking. Pan we have also got permit to do some parking outside on that roundabout. So area mati je parking kaira hoye, please let us not double park, let us be very reasonable, let us be upright people, let us send the message of Imam Hussain. If you are parked in that area, let us come in from the gates of Charambe and into the center. When you will enter straight in. At the entry of the school, There will be diversions. You will be asked to go left or right depending on the sitting availability. On the way out, inshallah, badai sitting areas ma shabi nu bandobast karwa ma avse, so we don't need to rush, we don't need to go anywhere. We'll have to live in an organized manner. There will be enough niyaz serving points, and then inshallah we will exit. And exit ma apre again, we need your cooperation that we should not have people who are leaving and people coming in banging into each other. So all the passages will be one directional. When people are entering, only volunteers will be allowed to flow on the other direction. When people are walking out, nobody will be allowed to enter in. Thank you very much, Bayo, for bearing with me for all these things. I hope this information is clear. If it's not clear, as I have said, okay, there are information desks, inshallah. Please reach out to us. We will try and clarify. In the end, I request a Surah Fatiha for all the marhumeens. And inshallah, let us also remember those who are ill in our community. Bimaro che, elokani shafaat mate, and marhumin na maghfirat mate. Al-Fatiha.
safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam, Arwahun al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat. All praise due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one who is Rahman, one who is Rahim. There's a narration from Imam al-Sadiq, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. is tasbih. When you hear about the masa'ib that befell us, وَهَمُّهُ لَنَا عِبَادًا, and the sorrow that What are the secrets of Ahlul Bayt? We've spoken about those before, that wilayat taqwiniya, for example, or certain parts of the dhulm that befell Ahlul Bayt, that people are unable to understand, unable to comprehend that maqam that the imams have. And ironically, nowadays, it's become the case that our own Shi'as are unable to comprehend the maqam of the Imam. And thus they are unable to understand that taqweeni wilayah that has been given to Ali Muhammad. So hide, keeping our secrets from those that are not the ahl, those that are not worthy of hearing our secrets. That is jihad in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the Imam says, يُوجِبُ أَن يَكْتَبَ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ بِمَاءِ الذَّهَبِ. He says, it is incumbent upon you that what I have just said is so important that you write this hadith in gold. بِمَاءِ الذَّهَبِ, in gold ink. Not like it's wajib, you have to go and do it, but he's trying to give you stress the importance of this particular hadith. This sorrow that you have, these tears that fall from your eyes, these tears that have brought you and made you worthy to come and sit in the Majlis of Abu Abdullah. It's a different thing that Imam Hussein gave everything in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed His love in the hearts of the believers. Everything. There was nothing that was left for him to give. Ilahi taraktul khalqa turran fi hawaka. That poem of Imam is so beautiful. إلهي تركت الخلق طرا في هواك ويتمت الأيال لكي أراك وإن قطعتني بالحب إربا إربا لما للفؤاد إلى السواك. My Lord, I've left the whole of creation for your sake. I've orphaned my children so that I may see you. And even if the swords were to come and cut me to pieces in your love, my heart would turn to none but you. He gave everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that the deen of Allah, the message of Allah, Tawheed, may be preserved. And so what has brought you here, what has dragged you out from the comforts of your home, is that Allah has chosen you as those people of tawfiq. That's, yes, give them the opportunity to come and change their lives through the zikr of Ahlul Bayt. We've been looking at the lifestyle of Ahlul Bayt. We've been looking at different parts of their lives. What are the characteristics that we can implement within our lives? We've looked at the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hurriyat, the idea of being free. At-tadbir, being organized within our lives. Learning to forgive and forget. And then yesterday, we spoke about the importance of istighfar and being thankful for what we have. Even as Imam holds the lifeless body of his 6-month-old child in his hands, says, my Lord, this is easy for Hussein to bear, knowing that you are watching. That maqam is something that we hope to achieve, that we hope to work towards. But it's a step-by-step process. Try and emulate as much as we can of their lives. So yesterday we looked at istighfar and thanks. Today I want to look at a characteristic that is in the life of all of the Ahlul Bayt and all of their companions, and that is the characteristic of al-wafa, loyalty. I had said yesterday that we'll speak about the ghira, but that was a slip of the tongue. That's for later on, tomorrow, inshallah. But loyalty, wafa, when we look at the hadith about loyalty, it says iman is two things. It is being trustful, being a person that people trust. When they give him amana, he doesn't do anything wrong with the trust, be that in the form of a secret, be that in the form of something that is physical. It says he never betrays trust. And the second is the one that fulfills or fulfilling one's promises. I promise someone something, I make sure that I fulfill it. It says iman is based on these two things. In one of the narrations, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he says, "Akrabukum minni ghadan fil mawqif." Those of you that are closest to me tomorrow on the day of judgment, on the plains of mahshar, are the ones, that are truthful in their speech. The first characteristic, the Holy Prophet says, the most truthful of you in your speech is the one that will be closest to me. How many lies do we tell on a daily basis? Small lies. We're like, oh, it's only just a small lie. No, even a lie that is told in joke. So when I say to someone, I don't know, oh my God, it's raining really hard outside. And the person goes, oh no, really? You go, nah, I'm joking. That's a sin. A lady sitting and has come to see the Holy Prophet, and her son is running around, just running riot. And so she says to him, come here, I've got something for you. And she's hiding something in her hand. We do that to children all the time. Hey, come here, look, I've got something for you, And then child comes running over and they're like, I'm only joking, I just wanted a hug. So this lady is doing the same thing. Come here. And Rasulullah looks at her and says, what's in your hand? She says, Ya Rasulullah, I've got a date. When he comes over, I'm going to give him the date. Rasulullah says to her, good. Because had you had nothing in your hand, you would have committed two sins. The first sin was that you lied to the child. The second sin was that you made it seem for him that it was okay to lie. You normalized the sin for him. So the one that is closest to me, the Holy Prophet says, is the one that is the most truthful in your speech. The second, the most trustworthy from amongst you. I know there is someone that I can always rely on. No matter if I give them $1 or $1,000 or $10,000, that amount will remain that amount. Nothing will happen to it. Or there's someone that I tell a secret to, and I know that this secret will remain with them until they die. They won't tell anyone. The Holy Prophet said, most trustworthy will be closest to me. The only problem is, right now, is like, if you really want to spread something in the community, you make sure the person you tell, you say, listen, don't tell anyone, okay? That's a surefire way of spreading something. Because you say to the first person, listen, don't tell anyone, okay, please. Yeah? And he goes to the next guy and he's like, listen, you didn't hear it from me, but look, don't tell anyone, okay? And then before you know it, that whole don't tell anyone. And sometimes people do that. They make sure they find the right person. You know, if I end up telling this person, make sure that it'll spread properly. No, the most trustworthy of you, those that maintain that amana that is given to them. And the greatest amana, we said, is the wilaya of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alayka ya Amin Allah fi ardi. The third person that the Holy Prophet says the most loyal of you to your oaths. Those of you that have made promises and oaths, you're the most loyal to them. You don't break your oath, your promise. The next, the best of akhlaq. Those of you that possess the best of akhlaq will be closest to me. You see how everything is the most trustworthy. The best of akhlaq. There's no halfway here. An individual must aspire towards perfection. The problem is that in our spiritual growth, we only aspire to halfway. It's like, if I could just pray on time, I'd be happy. That says, look, in this, always aspire towards perfection. Always aspire towards perfection, because if you fall short, at the very least you've achieved excellence. But if you're only going for sort of a pass, as long as I just skim myself into Jannah, it's alright. If you fall short, it's a problem. So the one from amongst you that has the best akhlaq. And then the last thing the Holy Prophet says, and the one that is closest to the people. Closest to the people. I don't even know who my neighbors are. You know, I don't know who lives a few doors down from me. I don't know people in the jar. I just stare at people as they're walking past. That's the thing here, you know, as an outsider. People just stare at you. Say salam, Baba, I'm not going to bite. Instead of just a little nod of the head. I'll give you a nod back and that's it. We'll carry on our way. But no, people just... She's the best. The one that is closest to the people. Giving salam is one of those from amongst the prophetic akhlaq. Don't be afraid to give salam. It's mustahab to give it, obviously wajib to reply. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to greet. You don't have to shake the hands, obviously COVID and social distancing and all of that. That's a separate thing, you know. Obviously once, insha'Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes this bala from us, then we'll all move back to hugging each other when we see each other. Increasing the love. We've become so cold towards each other. We don't like having guests in our home. We don't like meeting people. We're like, oh look, if you've got a problem, I'll just see you at the masjid. Just sort of fought people off. You're one of the wives of the Prophet. She would always complain. She said, why do you keep on bringing these ashab home? The Holy Prophet says, look, you don't see what I see. She's like, yeah, I know, but you keep on bringing these every single day. Some sahabi, someone from somewhere, is in our house. Holy Prophet says, look, he passes his hands over her eyes. Says, next time I come with someone to the house, with a guest to the house, tell me what you see. So the next day the Holy Prophet brings a guest home, sits there, he feeds the guest, he talks with him, and then he sends him on his way. He asks her, tell me, what is it you saw? Ya Rasulullah, I saw when this guest was entering the house, on his back were all of the rahmah of Allah and the barakat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he sat down, they began to spread across the house. And when he got up to leave, on his back were all the bala, all the sorrows, all the difficulties that we had, and they left with him and they went out of our home. The Holy Prophet says, this is why I love having guests so much. If you're going through difficulties, financial, whatever, have guests. Have guests. Don't be afraid of having guests. So he says, the closest, the one that will be closest to me on the plains of Mahshar is the one that is closest to the people. Also, the importance of fulfilling one's oath, being loyal, is of the utmost importance. Surah Tawbah is a Tawbah that is, it is a surah that was revealed for the mushrikeen as like bara'ah for them. But even there, while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about all the adhab and everything that will happen, He's saying, oh Prophet, even though that's all of that, but if you have made an oath to one of the mushrikeen, then make sure you fulfill it. There's no way that you can get out of it. If you've promised something, even to a mushrik, even to one of your enemies, make sure you fulfill that oath. And there's so many other hadith. You know, the person has no deen, the person has no iman, the one that cannot fulfill his oaths, doesn't keep his promises. And when we look at wafa, we can break it down into three types. The first type is wafa, loyalty with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Loyalty with Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, in the Holy Quran, constantly saying, Alam ahad ilaykum ya bani Adam, did I not make a covenant? Did you not make a covenant with me, O sons of Adam? That don't do what? Don't obey shaitan. He is your open enemy. We have these various covenants that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one that breaks his covenant with Allah is subject to the la'an of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a companion by the name of Tha'laba who comes to the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, I'm so poor. Please pray for me that Allah makes me rich. Yeah? There's no harm in doing dua to become rich and wealthy. There's no problem. But at the same time as doing your dua, ask for the competency to be able to deal with what it is that you're asking for. Because people ask over and over, but they don't have the competency to deal with it. And God finally, eventually gives the person, but they can't deal with the responsibility. Ya Allah, make me the president of the Jamaat. Why anyone would do that to dua? It's a hard job. I'm sure the president of the Jamaat will attest to it, and the committee members. It's a very hard job. But Ya Allah, at the same time as doing that dua, ask for the competency to be able to deal with it. Ask for sharh sadr. That an individual can bear the difficulties that come with said blessing or position. Tha'laba constantly, Ya Rasulullah, please make me rich. Please give me wealth. Please ask Allah. Rasulullah says, listen, Tha'laba, it's better you leave it. It's not good for you. What you have is enough. No, Ya Rasulullah, please. Holy Prophet says, okay, look, fine. He does the dua for him. Some short while later, Tha'laba ends up with a whole load of money in inheritance from a cousin of his that had died. Now the moment he gets the money, he was saying to the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, if you pray, then I'm going to start, giving in the way of Allah, then I'll start contributing, and I'll start doing this, and I'll start doing that. I'll help the poor, I'll get people married, whatever. Now that he has the wealth, Tha'laba, forget giving money, he moves out of Medina. Starts living outside of Medina, lovely house, now stops coming for Salat al-Jama'ah. You know, and the Holy Quran in Surah Tawbah, verse 75 and 76, speaks about Tha'laba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and there are those who made a covenant with Allah that if He was to give us out of His grace, He was to make us wealthy, we would certainly give alms in His way, you know, charity. And we will certainly be of those people that are good. فَلَمَّا آتَاهُمْ, and so then when Allah gave them, they became miserly. And they turned their back on Allah and they withdrew from Him. Tha'laba moves away, doesn't come from the Masjid Jama'at, doesn't give anything. In fact, when they come to ask him for his zakat, says, what zakat? I don't believe in this zakat. Sometimes, when we don't have anything, we're the biggest advocates of khums. But then when Allah gives him in fadl, from his fadl, they were like, what khums? No. Fulan said actually during the time of the Imam, and you know these marjas and their representatives, you know what they do with this khums? Tha'laba did exactly the same. And history shows his end. He pumped all of his money into Masjid al-Zirar, lost all of his wealth, left this world with nothing. With nothing. Lost all of his wealth, ended up being, poor, died, never helped anyone, never sorted his akhirah. So when you ask for dua, make sure when you're making a pact with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, give me wealth. I promise I'm going to do this and this and this with that wealth. At the same time, also say, and Allah, when you give me that wealth, please give me the salahiyat, give me the competency to be able to deal with what you're giving me. Always ask for the ability to deal with the skills that you have. And the ahad with Allah is of three types. There's a fitri one. At the fitri level, Alastu bi rabbikum? Am I not your Lord? Il alam adhar? Qalu bala. They said yes. But I forget about that. At the second level, it's the shar'i ahad that I make with Allah. Ya Allah, if you do this for me, I will feed 100 people. Or I will recite a tasbih of 100 times. And thing happens and I kind of forget. Just don't break your ahad with Allah. Especially if you've made a shar'i nadhar. You've made a shar'i nadhar. That as Allah as my witness, if this happens, I will do this. Don't break that covenant. And the third is the aqli covenant that you have with Allah. That is shukr for what He has given you, what we spoke about in depth yesterday. So the first level of wafa is with Allah. The second level of wafa is towards the people. Fulfilling your promises to your wife and your children. Yes, I'll take you, and then, oh yes, we'll do this, and I don't. So fulfill your promises. To the fellow mu'mineen. Yeah, inshallah, I'll be there. We need people to come help and set up the Husseiniya. Yeah, I'll be there. Never there. I'll just be, and you know what the problem is? When sometimes we do things just as it's autopilot, right? We're like, yeah, I'll be there in 2 minutes. But I'm 15 minutes away. It's a lie. And also I'm breaching my oath of being there in 2 minutes. I have to be careful with what I say. One has to be very daqiq in what they say. Concentrate on it. So to fellow mu'mineen, I take money and I promise that I will repay them. Now they're chasing me for it. I have the money to return. But now my nafs won't let me part. with what I owe that person. Sayyid al-Shuhada on the night of Ashura, and Subh Ashura, I said this before, that after all of the things that he went through and all these companions have done for him, he says to each and every one of them, if there's anyone that has some sort of haqqun nas on their shoulders, i.e. you owe someone money and you haven't repaid and they haven't forgiven it, or you've done ghiba about someone, Hussein doesn't want you here, go away. He sends them away. And now I'm here, I'm taking money of this person, conning that person, conning the other person, and then I'm sitting there, Allahumma ajjal li waliyyika al-faraj. But our Imam has new rules. Every con man and woman, equality, he'll take them? No. So then why is it that my life is like this? Why is it, do I think that it's justified? I go for a loan, I stick someone else as a guarantor. I have no intention of paying that loan. Now everyone's chasing the guarantor. We have it in the UK, there's a system of like guarantors. You take a loan, you put someone as something as a guarantee. And for those with bad credit, they put another person. Now I've got no intention of paying. Not only have I infringed haqqun nas of that person whose money I took, I've infringed the right of the guarantor as well. Because I had no intention of repaying. Fulfilling my oath to the people is very important. The hurma of the mu'min is greater than the hurma of the Kaaba. And I'm out here not just conning anyone, I'm conning mu'mineen. There are communities like this. Inshallah, it doesn't happen here. There are communities that I've been to, that I've seen, that it happens. Someone's like, oh, listen, look, if you loan me some money, I've got, and there's good-hearted people that loan money. And there's just people who just, will use that money to feed a habit or do something, but have no intention of repaying in any way, shape or form. Or I'm conning someone in a business transaction. They say one of the traders of Tehran, very mutadayyin person, in his, he had a market stall and things like that, just to explain how this haqqun nas works, how daqiq, how minutiae you need to look at it. He says that very mutadayyin, would pray and everything, no haram, would deal with the people fairly, wouldn't con anyone. One night he sees in his dream Yawm al-Qiyamah, and they're handing him his scroll of deeds in his right hand. He's very happy. They're like, go towards Jannah. As he's running in towards Jannah, he sees in front of him a number of big hills, and so he tries to climb this hill and realizes that the hill is made of split peas, or dal, for example. It's made of that, and he's trying to climb. Now you can imagine, you're trying to climb dal, you're going to be sinking. No matter how much he tries, Jannah is just there. He's trying to climb over this hill, keeps on sinking inside, falls back, comes up again, tries to climb, can't reach Jannah, wakes up. Says, what in the world was that dream? Hills, I understand, but hills made of split peas? Like, that makes no sense. Perplexed, he goes to work. And it just so happens that at the time that he arrives, he finds that the people that are working for him are splashing all the dal that is for sale with water. He says, what are you doing? He says, oh, this is the urf. This is normal in the bazaar. You do it to make it look nicer and stuff. He says, no, you're increasing the weight of the dal with the droplets of water. And so now where someone is buying 1 kilo, they are ending up They want to buy only 1 kilo, but with the weight of the water it's 1.1 kilo. That's 100 grams is haram, because that's not what they paid for. He says that's what that dream meant. We sell people cars and, I don't know, put something in the gearbox, it'll be alright for about 200 miles. And then, nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with you here. But over there, believe it'll be all to do with you. Haqqun nas is very important. So, the second level of wafa is to the people. The third aspect of wafa that we can look at is the wafa to your imam. Loyalty to your imam. And that is what shines from Karbala. Shines from Karbala. Every single individual willing to give their life for the sake of their imam. Individuals that left the comfort of their homes to come and join the imam. And Hussein alayhi salam always repaid that loyalty. Someone like Yazid ibn Subayt comes out of Basra under very difficult circumstances with both his sons, makes his way through great difficulty and reaches the land of Karbala. As he rides in towards the Khayyam of Abu Abdullah, he says, I'm looking for Imam Hussein, I'm here to aid him. They say Imam Hussein had already gone out in order to meet you in the other direction. Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes running towards Yazid ibn Subayt. He takes him and he embraces him. This is loyalty. Basra was under military rule. Basra was under martial law. Kufa was under martial law. It was very difficult to leave those places. Not only that, throughout the desert there were spies and guards, sentries that were set up. But these people, through great difficulty, made their way towards Imam. And now when they're in Karbala, and the thirst, and all the heat and everything, anyone find any riwayah where anyone complains? Nobody. Not just that, they were willing to be loyal to their imam with their very existence. You have someone like Sa'id ibn Abdullah, Imam alayhi salam, at the time of Dhuhr when he's going to pray, Sa'id stands in front of the imam. And as the arrows are coming towards him, Sa'id is running from left to right, taking every arrow that he can into his chest. Not a single arrow should hit his imam. Sa'id makes sure that every arrow hits him. When the imam finishes his salah, Sa'id falls to the ground. Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushes towards him, takes his head in his lap, says, Sa'id, is there anything that you want from Hussein for all that you have done for me? Sa'id, is there anything Hussein can do for you? He opens his eyes. He says, yes, Yabna Rasulillah. Just answer for me one question. Imam says, what is it? He says, our faytu Yabna Rasulillah, have I fulfilled my loyalty towards you, Yabna Rasulillah? 13 arrows were in his body. And Abu Abdullah raises his hands, says, oh Allah, curse the nation that killed him, like you cursed Aad and Thamud. These were those individuals that were there. But then none stands out more than Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. What is it Abbas had that has dragged out so many people in such large numbers for Abbas? You want to know the wafa of Abbas? When the alam of Hazrat Abbas was taken to Ibn Ziyad, The alam was intact. Usually they get torn, they get shredded, they fall. When he looks at this alam intact, he says, whose flag, whose alam was this? And they say to him, it was the flag of Al-Abbas. He says, هَكَذَا وَفَاءُ الْأَخْ لِأَخِيهِ. This is loyalty of the brother to the brother. I will face all the damage, but the flag of my brother shall not fall. See the love of the brothers with each other. That's Abu Abdullah. Whenever he would see Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, he would say, Ya Abbas binafsi ant. Abbas, may my soul be sacrificed for you. The loyalty of Abbas to his brother, to his Imam. What is my relationship with my brothers? My blood brothers. There are people who haven't spoken to their blood brothers for years and still hope for salvation in the akhirah, knowing that Qat'i Raham is one of the Gunahane Kabira. Here on the night of Abbas, if we have fallen out with our family members for the sake of the love of Al-Abbas, for Abu Abdullah, let's make that oath, that ahad, that we will go and we will rekindle that relationship. Because Qat'i Raham is that thing that will reduce your life in the dunya and will also increase your adhab in the akhirah. The loyalty of Abbas. He was drowning in the love of his Imam. And there's nowhere more beautiful that he displays this than on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah in the precincts of the Kaaba, when he hears that there is an attempt to try and kill Abu Abdullah and it is thwarted. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas looks towards Imam al-Hussein. He says, oh my Imam, oh brother, will you allow me to go and say a few words to these people? And there Al-Abbas delivers a khutbah that is drowned in ma'rifah of his Imam. Imam says, go. Abbas climbs to the top of the Kaaba. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi alladhi sharrafa hadha biqudumi abi. Says, may the praise of God, praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Lord that gave sharaf to this bayt through the footsteps of the father of Imam al-Hussein. Man kana bil amsi baytan asbaha qibla. Before Ali came, this was just a house, but after Ali came, it became qibla. Says to them, أيها الكفرة الفجرة أتسدون طريق البيت لإمام البررة من هو أحق به من سائر البرية من هو أدنى به. He says, O kuffar, O fujjar, do you try and block the way of the rightful Imam from the Kaaba? Tell me, who has more right over this Kaaba than him? Tell me, who is nearer to this Kaaba than him? وَلَوْلَا حَكِمَ اللَّهُ الْجَلِيَّ وَإِخْتِبَارَهُ الْعِلِيَّ لِطَارَ الْبَيْتِ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَمْشِي لَدَيْهِ قَدْ اسْتَلَمَ النَّاسَ الْحَجَرُ وَالْحَجَرُ يَسْتَلِمُ يَدَيْهِ. He says, were it not for the command of Allah, you would have seen that the house itself lifted itself from its foundations and flew towards Hussein before Hussein could go towards it. Man, all of you wish to kiss the black stone, but the black stone wishes to kiss the hands of Hussein. Says, وَلَوْ لَمْ تَكُنْ مَشِيَّةُ مَوْلَى مجبولة بمشية الرحمن لوقعت عليكم كالصقر الغضبان على الأصافير الطيران. He says, by God, were it not for the will of my master that is one with the will of Allah, you would have seen me, Abbas, go and attack you like an angry eagle attacks small birds, ripping each one of you to shreds. أتخون قوم يلعب بالموت في الطفولية فكيف كان في الرجولية. Says you're trying to scare a nation that played with death when they were children, and now you try and make us afraid when we are adults. Abbas was 13 in Siffin when Amir al-Mu'mineen covered his face with a niqab and sent him out, and Ibn Sha'thar sent out one son to fight Abbas. Abbas killed him. The second son killed him. The third son killed him. The fourth son killed him. All 7 sons of Ibn Sha'thar were killed by Al-Abbas at the age of 13, and even Ibn Sha'thar himself came out to fight Abbas. Abbas killed him. At that moment, Amir al-Mu'mineen calls out, Ya Abbas, irji ila al-khayam. Abbas, come back towards the tents. They all looked at Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, Siffin, 18 months. And you had a weapon like Abbas all along. Ya Ali, why don't you send Abbas out more? Says, no. إنه زخر للحسين. Says, this Abbas of mine is the zakhira of Hussein in Karbala. He continues, ولفديت بالحامات لسيد البريات دون الحيوانات. He says, I wish for myself to be sacrificed like an animal is sacrificed for the sake of my Mawla. هيهات فانظروا ثم انظروا. Says, look, and then look again. ممن شارب الخمر. On one side is the one that is the drunkard and the drinker of alcohol. وممن صاحب الحوض والكوثر. And on one side is the owner of the fountain and of Kawthar. وممن في بيته الوحي والقرآن. And on this side is the house of Wahi and Quran. وَمِمَّنْ فِي بَيْتِهِ اللَّهَوَاتِ وَالدَّنِسَاتِ. And on the other side is a house that is filled with lahaw, and a house that is filled with all that is immoral. وَمِمَّنْ فِي بَيْتِهِ التَّطْهِيرِ وَالْآيَاتِ. And here is the house that is filled with the ayat of the Quran and the purity that Allah has given. Says, وَأَنْتُمْ وَقَعْتُمْ غَلَطَةِ الَّتِي. Says, and you have fallen into the same mistake that the Quraysh fell into. That they thought that they could kill Rasulullah, but they were unable to achieve that while Amir al-Mu'mineen was alive. And now you have come and are trying to kill Aba Abdullah. How is it possible? Ma dumtu hayyan salila. How is it possible while Abbas is alive that you can get anywhere near Hussein? He says, ta'alu. Come. أخبركم بالسبيل. Let Abbas tell you the way how you will reach Hussein. بادروا قتلي واضربوا عنقي ليحصل مرادكم. Says, come, kill Abbas, remove the head from the body of Abbas. That is the only way that you will reach Aba Abdullah. لا بالغ الله مدراكم بددا وعماركم وأولادكم ولعن الله عليكم وعلى أجدادكم. He says, may God never allow you to reach your goal. May He reduce your children, and may His la'na be upon you and your forefathers. The khutbah of Abbas. Abbas is the height of loyalty. In Karbala, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas had 3 of his own brothers from al-Banin with him. He had 2 of his own sons. He prepared all of them with his own hands to go out for shahadat. Abbas is Abbas. Abbas is Babul Hawa'ij. Why? Not that is commonly misunderstood that Abbas wasn't allowed to fight. He went out and he didn't fight. No, Abul Fadl Abbas, yes, he was told, go and get water. But that doesn't mean he didn't fight. He killed many people. But Abbas is Babul Hawa'ij. Because from the moment he opened his eyes, his life was always for the sake of his Imam. He always put his nafs last and put his Imam first. Sayyid al-Shuhada says to him, when Sayyid al-Shuhada goes to visit Marwan and says, if you hear my voice loud, then come in, but don't do anything. Sayyid al-Shuhada raises his voice when Marwan says, look, if he doesn't agree, then cut off his head. Says, will you cut off my head? Or will he? At that moment, Abbas kicks open the door. Kicking it open to show that Abbas is only stopped by the command of his master, not out of fear. Imam looks at him, Abbas, we're leaving Medina. He's with the Imam. They go to Mecca, they tent outside, they take part, they stay outside of Mecca. Just in a small area outside the city. Imam says to him, Abbas, we're leaving Mecca. He leaves Mecca. On the way to Kufa, Abbas, this is Karbala, we're staying here. Then as the event of Muharram begins, Abbas, we need to move the tents. Abbas is not saying anything at this point. Move the tents from the Furat, Abbas. They've asked us to move the tents. The tents of Abi Abdullah are moved away from the Furat. Shab Ashur. Abbas is the general of the army. Imam says to him, Abbas, go to them and ask them for one extra night. Tell them don't start fighting now. They'd already started firing arrows. Abbas asked them for one extra night. It's very difficult for a general to put aside this Abbas that has been hearing from the moment that he was alive that Abbas is for Karbala. Now every time Abbas wants to go forward, Imam says, no, not now, Abbas. Says, Abbas asked them for one extra night. He goes. One extra night, my Mawla says, Inni uhibbu as-salah. He asks for that extra night. Abbas is Babul Hawa'ij because Abbas placed all his own desires, his own wishes. He annihilated them all for the sake of his Mawla. On the banks of Furat, when he could have picked up the water and drank it, Ya nafs min ba'd al-Husayn huni. The Urdu poet puts it beautifully. जब हवा में कुछ नमी महसूस की अब्बास ने, एहतियातन अपने सांस रोक लिए अब्बास ने. जब हवा में कुछ नमी महसूस की अब्बास ने, एहतियातन अपने सांस रोक लिए अब्बास ने. मुझे कौसर सर उठाकर देखती रह गई, इतनी ऊंचाई पर रख दी तिश्नगी अब्बास ने. Just even the humidity, Abbas seals his mouth. No, my master is still thirsty. The day of Ashura comes. Abul Fadl al-Abbas is coming to his Imam over and over. Imam, give me permission. Sayyid al-Shuhada is looking at him. Abbas, anta sahibu liwa'i wa anta kabshu katibati. Abbas, how can I let you go? You are the flag bearer of my army. Abbas, you are the commander of this army. The ashab all go. And now the turn of Bani Hashim comes. Again Abbas comes. Says, no, Abbas, anta sahibu liwa'i wa anta kabshu katibati. Abbas stays quiet. Again, one by one, Bani Hashim go until there is nothing, no one left. He now comes again and stands in front of Imam. My brother, give me permission to go out and fight. Imam again replies to him, Abbas, anta sahibu liwa'i, wa anta kabshu katibati. Abbas, you're the commander of my army. Abbas, you are the flag bearer of my army. How can I let you go? Some say that Abbas said something at that time. No, Abbas would never speak in front of his Mawla. But maybe it was the tears that were flowing from the eyes of Al-Abbas that cried out, oh master, where is that army left? Or maybe it was the cries of Al-Atash of the children of Abi Abdullah. That Imam looks at his brother, says, Abbas, if you must go, then let us go and try and bring water for these children. But Abbas, before you go and meet our sister Zainab. When Abbas walked inside the tent of Hazrat Zainab, Zainab looked at Abbas. Abbas was a young child that she had raised. She looks at her brother, says, Abbas, you know, my father, when he was leaving this world, he said to me, Zainab, it is as if I see that you have been imprisoned and ropes are being tied around your hands, and you are being taken through the streets of Kufa as a prisoner. Abbas, I would always say to myself, that how is that possible? That anyone could ever do this to me when I had a brother like Abbas by my side. But now Abbas, you stand in front of me, and now I know that that is to become a reality. Abul Fadl al-Abbas embraces his sister for the last time. I'm going to get water. All the children are preparing. Our uncle Abbas is going to bring water. Imam Hussein and Hazrat Abbas, they ride out together, fighting their way forward. When the enemy realizes that if Hussein and Abbas are together, we will never be able to stop them. So they drive a wedge of people between Hazrat Abbas and Imam al-Hussein, separating them. They turn Imam Hussein back towards the Khayyam, and they turn Abbas back towards the heart of the army. Al-Abbas fights his way towards the banks of Furat. When he reaches the banks of Furat, he descends into the cool water of Furat. They say Abbas picked up the water, was going to drink it, but he talks to himself, Ya nafs min ba'd al-Husayn huni. Oh nafs, will you drink this water while your master is drinking the syrup of death? Abbas throws back the water. He fills up the bag of water that he has. He places it around his shoulders. Abbas mounts back upon his horse. He begins riding out, fighting his way towards the tents. His eyes fixed on the tents of Abi Abdullah. Abbas rides forward. One man hiding behind a date palm cuts off the right arm of Abbas. Abbas calls out, Wallah, in kata'tumu yamini, inni uhami abadan an dini. By Allah, even if you were to cut the right arm of Abbas, Abbas will never stop defending this religion. He carries on riding. Another man cuts off the left arm of Abbas. Abbas addresses himself. He says, Oh nafs, don't be afraid of these kuffar. Abbas has his eyes set on where he needs to go. With his 7 arms, Abbas is still riding towards the tent. Harmala says, I realized that the heart of Abbas lie in the bag of water. He says, I took aim, I fired the arrow towards the bag of water. When the water began to flow, do you know what the Maqtal said? فَوَقَفَ الْعَبَّاسِ. As the water fell to the ground, Abbas stopped his horse. As Abbas stops his horse, Umar ibn Sa'd calls out, what are you waiting for? The Maqatil say 4,000 archers fired arrows towards Al-Abbas. From every angle, Abbas's body is being struck by arrows. One arrow lands in the eye of Al-Abbas. Abbas bends down to try and remove the arrow from his eye. As Abbas bends down, a man comes from behind with an iron bar and strikes the head of Abbas. Abbas, unable to contain himself, unable to control himself, falls from the horse. He calls out, Ya akhi, adrik akhak. Oh brother, come to the aid of your brother. Al-Alim says that one night I saw in my dream Zahra alayha salam came. Said, oh Alim, you recited the Masa'ib of my son Abbas, but you didn't recite his greatest musibah. He says, Bibi, I recited that Abbas's arms were cut. I recited that Abbas's body was fired upon by the archers. She says, no, this is not the greatest masa'ib. He says, Bibi, I recited Abbas's head was struck with an iron bar. She says, no, this is not the greatest musibah of my Abbas. He says, then Bibi, what is the musibah, the greatest musibah of your Abbas? She says, oh Alim, whenever you go and you recite the Masa'ib of my son Abbas, tell the people that come to listen to the Masa'ib of my Abbas, when every other rider fell, he used his hands to hold, to defend himself off the ground, but my Abbas had no arms. There was an arrow in his eye, and my Abbas fell on his face. Abbas called out, Ya akhi, adrik akhak. Oh brother, come to the aid of your brother. When Abbas called out, there were 4 cries that were heard in Karbala. The first cry came from Abi Abdullah. He called out, Alan inqassara dhahri. The second cry came from the army of Yazid. They called out, attack the tents. Hussein is now Gharib. The third call came from the tent of Zainab. Wow, Sada! And the 4th and final call came from that 4-year-old daughter of Abi Abdullah. She threw down the glass of water. Oh, Uncle Abbas, I won't ask for water again. Just come back to me one time. Imam al-Hussein began crying. Imam al-Hussein began crying, calling out, they've killed my brother Abbas. Imam rides to the body of Abbas. He stands over the body of Abbas. They say, why is it Hussein stood? For his Ali he laid down, he sat by his body. For On and Muhammad, he sat by their bodies. For Qasim, he sat by his body. So why is Hussein standing at the body of Abbas? They say because when Ali Akbar fell, Hussein sat by his body. He Because he knew that his Abbas was in the tent. When his Qasim fell, he knew Abbas was there. When Aun and Muhammad fell, he knew his Abbas was in the tent. When every single person fell, he knew that his Abbas was there to defend the tent. But now when he stands here, he sees his brother in front of him. There is no Abbas back in the tent. Imam looks at him. Alan inqasara dhahri. Abbas, my back has been broken. Abbas, my resolve has been broken. Abbas, that eye that would stay awake out of your fear tonight shall sleep, and that eye that would sleep peacefully knowing that you are alive tonight will stay awake out of fear. Abbas. Imam alayhi salam bends down, kisses the body of his brother Abbas, and Imam returns back towards the tents. They say, why is it Abu Abdullah left the body of his brother by the side of the Furat? He brought Ali's body, Qasim's body, different individuals. Why leave Abbas? They say there could be a number of reasons for this. The first reason is that Hussein alayhi salam was alone, and the army of Yazid had made the intention to attack the tents. So Abu Abdullah rushed back to go towards the tents. The second reason could be that Abu Abdullah himself had said, Alan inqasara dhahri, a young 35-year-old brother, how will he carry the body of Abbas? Hussein's back has been broken. They say the third reason could be that maybe Al-Abbas himself had said, if I'm unable to bring water back, don't bring my body back towards the tent. I'm embarrassed that my body be brought in that way. They say all of these are probable, but the one that is most likely, the reason why Abi Abdullah left the body of Abbas is that, you know, when I said those 4,000 archers began firing on the body of Abbas, and Abbas couldn't control himself on the horse, Abbas fell to the ground, and they surrounded the body of Abbas like a pack of hyenas attacking from every side. Whoever had a sword hit the body of Abbas. Whoever had a spear threw it at the body of Abbas. The Maqtal says, فَقَدَّوْهُ إِرْبًا إِرْبًا. Now when Hussein, even if he wanted to take the body of his brother Abbas back, when he lifted it from the right, the left fell away. If he was to lift from the left, the right would fall away. سعد الله قلبك يا أبا عبد الله. على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, for the sake of Babul Hawa'ij, Ya Allah, forgive our sins. Ya Allah, forgive the sins of our parents. Ya Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Ya Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, Ya Allah, clear their debts. Ya Rab, I don't know what hajat, the attendees, those that are here in person, those that are watching online from around the world. Ya Allah, I don't know which hajat they have, what difficulties, what sorrows they have in their life. But Ya Allah, we have made this night mansoob to Babul Hawaij. Ya Allah, for the sake of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, Ya Allah, fulfill the hajat of everyone. Ya Allah, dispel their sorrows, remove the miseries and the problems from their lives. Ya Allah, keep safe the azadar of Sayyid al-Shuhada around the world. Ya Allah, give us opportunity to once again go to Karbala for the azah of Sayyid al-Shuhada, so that we can stand between Bayn al-Haramain and view both of the harams on our sides. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadreen. Matam Hussein.
बंद रही खून में डूबा हुआ लो वो अलम आता है हो चुके बेकस इमाम जंग हुई है इख्तिताम भाई भी काम आ चुका लो वो अलम आता है खैमे में गुल है बपा लो वो अलम आता है रन से अलमदार का लो वो अलम आता है हमको पानी न मिले तेरी खुशबू तो रहे तेरे बाजू न कटे चाहे मशकी जाछी दे ये मगर हो न सका तेरे बाजू है जुदा मुझ पे है तश न लबी तू नाया गाजी कितनी बेबास्ती बहन शहनशाह वफा नाम ले ले के मेरा جب یہ ظالم نے کہا ناز تھا جس پہ تجھے اب بلاؤ نہ اسے اور میں روتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی تو نہ آیا غازی دل سینے میں جب تک ہے بھولے گا نہ غم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی اونچا ہے علم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی اونچا ہے علم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے جواب مومنوں اونچا ہے علم تیرا ہے دل سینے میں جب تک ہے بھولے گا نہ غم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے اونچا ہے علم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی اونچا زینب کی دعا بن کے ایک وقت وہ آئے گا زینب کی دعا بن کے ایک وقت وہ آئے گا ہر گھر میں سجا ہوگا عباس علم تیرا دل سینے میں جب تک ہے بھولے گا نہ غم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی اونچا آ جاتی ہے زہرا بھی زینب بھی زیارت کو آ جاتی ہے زہرا بھی زینب بھی زیارت کو جب 8 محرم کو اٹھتا ہے علم تیرا دل سینے میں جب تک ہے بھولے گا نہ غم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی تابوت جب اٹھتا ہے شبیر کا غازی تابوت جب اٹھتا ہے شبیر کا غازی تابوت کے آگے بھی چلتا ہے علم تیرا دل سینے میں جب تک ہے بولے گا نہ غم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی جب بہ گیا سب پانی تب آس تیری ٹوٹی جب بہ گیا سب پانی تب آس تیری ٹوٹی تھا سینے کے اندر یا مشکی زیم دم تیرا دل سینے میں جب تک ہے بھولے گا نہ غم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے اونچا ہے علم تیرا آ دیکھ میرے غازی بیٹا ہے تو علی کا زہرا کی تو دعا ہے شبیر تیرا آقا ام البنین ماں ہے بیٹا ہے تو علی کا تو دعا ہے شبیر تیرا آقا البنین ماں ہے. ہر صورت و چلن میں حیدر سے نہ جدا ہے. تا حشر تجھ سے قائم دنیا میں بس وفا ہے. عباس عباس دل کی مراد غازی تیرے علم سے پائے. روتی ہوئی جو مائیں تیرے علم پہ آئے. زہرا کے درد پہلو کا دیتی ہے واسطہ. فضا کی کنیزی میں ان کا بھی نام آئے. عباس عباس تیرے علم کو تھامے ہر شخص کہہ رہا ہے مظلوم کربلا کا زینب کا واسطہ ہے. پردیسی کوئی ایسا پردیس میں نہ اجرے صدقے میں اس کے جس کا گھر بار لٹ گیا ہے. عباس 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 ہر لاش پر علی کو کرتے تھے یاد سرور لیکن اٹھانے آئے جس وقت لاش اکبر. بابا کی بے کسی پر روتا تھا نوجوان بھی. شبیر نے کہا جو برچھی پہ ہاتھ رکھ کر عباس 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 خنجر گلے پہ جس دم بھائی کے چل رہا تھا 70 قدم سے منظر زینب نے خود یہ دیکھا. جب شمر مارتا تھا گردن پہ شہ کے خنجر ہر ضرب پر تڑپ کر کہتی تھی بنت زہرا عباس 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 عباس. اس وقت جب کہ زینب دربار میں گئی تھی قاری نمازیوں سے محفل سجی ہوئی تھی. ظالم یہ پوچھتا تھا غازی تیرا کہاں ہے بالوں سے منہ چھپائے زینب یہ کہہ رہی تھی عباس عباس.
جب ہواؤں میں نمی محسوس کی عباس نے ایسے ایک دم سانس اپنی روک لی عباس نے. موج تو سر دیکھتی ہی رہ گئی، اتنی اونچائی پہ رکھ دی تشنگی عباس نے، یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس۔ جہاں بھی پانی و مشق و علم کی بات چلی، علی کے لال کے قدموں تلے فرات چلی، وفائے عشق و محبت کی کائنات چلی، دعائے فاطمہ زہرا بھی ساتھ ساتھ چلی، علم کے دم سے ہے اب تک حیات پانی کی، جری کی جیت ہوئی اور موت پانی کی، یا یا عباس یا عباس۔ وہ ایک مشک جو کوثر سمیت کر نکلی، لبوں پہ اپنے سمندر سمیت کر نکلی، تبسم علی اصغر سمیت کر نکلی، جو ایک ضرب سے لشکر سمیت کر نکلی، اگر نہ کہتی یہ آب حیات پانی کی، ہر ایک نگاہ سے گر جاتی ذات پانی کی، یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس۔ سکینہ بی بی کے صدقے علی کے لال سلام، چری سقی اسد شیر ذوالجلال سلام، وفا کی آخری حق کے مہ کمال سلام، نہیں ہے دونوں جہاں میں تیری مثال سلام، یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس۔ وہ ایک مشک جو کوثر سمیت کر نکلی، لبوں پہ اپنے سمندر سمیت کر نکلی، تبسم علی اصغر سمیت کر نکلی، جو ایک ضرب سے لشکر سمیت کر نکلی، اگر نہ کہتی یہ آب حیات پانی کی، ہر ایک نگاہ سے گر جاتی ذات پانی کی، یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس۔ جہاں بھی پانی و مشق و علم کی بات چلی، علی کے لال کے قدموں تلے فرات چلی، وفائے عشق و محبت کی کائنات چلی، دعائے فاطمہ زہرا بھی ساتھ ساتھ چلی، علم کے دم سے ہے اب تک حیات پانی کی، چری کی جیت ہوئی اور موت پانی کی، یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس۔ سکینہ بی بی کے صدقے علی کے لال سلام، چری سقی اسد شیر ذوالجلال سلام، وفا کی آخری حق کے مہ کمال سلام، نہیں ہے دونوں جہاں میں تیری مثال سلام، یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا
عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس یا عباس۔ جب شام و سحر فاطمہ زہرا تجھے روئے، جب شام و سحر فاطمہ زہرا تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے جب شام و سحر فاطمہ زہرا تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے رو مل کے سارے عباس تیرا حق ہے جناب زہرا کو پرسہ پیش کریں بلند آواز میں ماشاءاللہ ہاں عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے دلالی پہرے پہ ستمگار کھڑا ہے دلالی پہرے پہ ستمگار کھڑا ہے کیسے تیرے لاشے پہ سکینہ تجھے روئے کیسے تیرے لاشے پہ سکینہ تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے سن کے ماتم کرے نام مولا جناب مجبری کو پرسہ پیش کریں سینوں پہ ہاتھ مار کے تجھے روئے جس وقت اٹھایا نہ گیا لاشا جواں کا جس وقت اٹھایا نہ گیا لاشا جواں کا شے اس گھڑی اکبر سے زیادہ تجھے روئے شے اس گھڑی اکبر سے زیادہ تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ ماشاءاللہ بلند آواز میں عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے زینب نے کہا شام غریبہ میں غازی زینب نے کہا شام غریبہ میں غازی بے پردہ مجھے دیکھ کے بابا تجھے روئے بے پردہ مجھے دیکھ کے بابا تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے ماشاءاللہ عباس سلامت رہنا تجھے روئے سجدے کے لیے جب لیا ہاتھوں کا سہارا سجدے کے لیے جب لیا ہاتھوں کا سہارا سجاد مصلی پہ ہمیشہ تجھے روئے سجاد مصلی پہ ہمیشہ تجھے روئے عباس جواب ماشاءاللہ زمانہ تجھے روئے عباس تیرا حق ہے زمانہ تجھے روئے میرے غازی کہاں ہو میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا سارے ماشاءاللہ قافلہ میرے غازی کہاں ہو اے میرے با وفا اے میرے با وفا ہے بغیر میرے کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ سارے میرے غازی کہاں تجھ کو دیکھے بنا چین آتا نہیں نوک نیزہ پہ سر تیرا ملتا نہیں میں زیارت کروں کس طرح سے بتا میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا ماشاءاللہ سلامت رہے بلند آواز میں میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ سینوں پہ ہاتھ مار کے ماشاءاللہ غازی کہاں لاج رکھ لو بہن کی برادر میرے خاک مقتل میرے سر کا پیدا بنے حکم دے دو ذرا منتظر ہے ہوا میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ میرے غازی کہاں تیرے بازو مجھے راستے میں ملے میں نے چادر سمجھ کر وہ سر پر رکھے بازوؤں سے تیرا پوچھتی ہوں پتا میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا اجر اللہ ماشاءاللہ دیکھ کر بہن کو دشت میں ننگے سے کیا خیال آ گئی چھپ گئے ہو کدھر خود چلی آؤں گی تم بتا دو ذرا میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا جواب ماشاءاللہ میرے غازی کہاں وہ تیری لاڈلی وہ سکینہ تیری چلتے ناقے سے جب خاک پر گر گئی دیکھتی رہ گئی وہ سوئے القمہ میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ ماشاءاللہ میرے غازی کہاں یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب مل کے سارے ماشاءاللہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو پابند نہ ہوا ہے پابند نہ ہوا ہے رونے پہ نہ پہرا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ رب اجرکم اللہ. بلند آواز میں ہے یا رب کوئی سینوں پہ ہاتھ مار کے جناب سکینہ کا پوچھا پیش کریں. تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر, تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر, زندہ در زندہ ہے زندہ در زندہ, اس کے لیے قضا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ, زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب. اجرکم اللہ. ماشاءاللہ کھل کے پرسہ دیں جناب زہرا کو, سلامت رہیں ہو یا رب, سلامت رہیں ماتمی سارے. زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز سسکنے کی, زندانوں سے آتی تھی آواز سسکنے کی, جیسے کہ سکینہ کو ہے جیسے کہ سکینہ کو ہر زندہ رو رہا ہو یا رب کوئی میں نہ تنہا ہو یا رب کوئی ماشاءاللہ یا رب کوئی معصومہ, زندہ میں نہ تنہا ہو, پابند نہ ہوا ہے پابند نہ ہوا ہے, رونے پہ نہ پہرا ہو یا رب کوئی. آخر تک صدا دیں ماشاءاللہ. ہو یا رب کوئی ماشاءاللہ. ٹکرائے نہ وہ کیوں کر زندہ کی دیواروں سے, ٹکرائے نہ وہ کیوں کر زندہ کی دیواروں سے, بھائی سے اور پھوپھی سے ہے بھائی سے اور پھوپھی سے, جس کو جدا کیا ہو یا رب کوئی ماشاءاللہ. مل کے سارے بلند آواز میں معصومہ, تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر, تھی جس کو نیند آتی شبیر کے سینے پر, زندہ در زندہ ہے زندہ در زندہ, اس کے لیے قضا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ, اجرکم اللہ زہرا ہے یا رب کوئی. مولانا سب کو سلامت رکھے ماشاءاللہ. جو ابو الفضل عباس کی یاد میں ماتم کریں. زندان میں نجفی یاد آئی سکینہ کی, زندان میں نجفی یاد آئی سکینہ کی, دل رو رو کہہ رہا ہے دل رو رو کہہ رہا ہے, اب نہ اجالا ہو یا رب کوئی معصومہ, زندہ میں نہ واویلا ہے واویلا واویلا ہے واویلا واویلا ہے واویلا ماشاءاللہ ہے واویلا. سب مل کے کریں اب اہل عذاب واویلا ہے واویلا واویلا. جو بلند آواز میں واویلا ہے واویلا واویلا ہے واویلا. اٹھائے گا ماشاءاللہ. ہے واویلا اسلام نبی کا بچایا ہے, تقدیر کا دیپ جلایا ہے, تقدیر کا دیپ جلایا ہے, قرآن کا مان بڑھایا ہے, توحید پہ گھر کو لٹایا ہے, شبیر کا ماتم واویلا, شبیر کا ماتم واویلا, دلگیر کا ماتم واویلا, یہ اہل عزا کا ہے نغمہ واویلا, ہے واویلا, 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 سلامت رہے ماشاءاللہ. سب مل کے کریں اب اہل عزا واویلا, ہے واویلا, واویلا, جناب زہرا سلامت رکھیں ماشاءاللہ. ہے واویلا ہم شکل پیمبر مار گیا, 6 ماہ کا اصغر مار گیا, 6 ماہ کا اصغر مار گیا, عباس دلاور مار گیا, شبیر کا دلبر مار گیا, اکبر کا ماتم واویلا, اصغر کا ماتم واویلا, زینب کے لبوں پر ہے نغمہ واویلا, ہے واویلا, حسین واویلا, ہے واویلا, واویلا, ہے واویلا, 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 ہے واویلا, سلامت رہے. ہے واویلا کیا غربت تھی, تنہائی تھی, جب شام غریب آئی تھی, جب شام, سارے بولے ماشاءاللہ, آئی تھی, ایک ظلم کی بدلی چھائی تھی, پیغام اسیر لائی تھی, غربت کا ماتم واویلا, عطرت کا ماتم واویلا, سب اہل غرم کی چھین ردا واویلا, ہے واویلا, واویلا, ہے واویلا, واویلا, ماشاءاللہ, ہے واویلا سب مل کے کرے اب اہل عزا واویلا, جناب زہرا کو پوسا پیش کریں واویلا, صدا بلند کیجئے واویلا کی ماشاءاللہ. واویلا, ہے واویلا کیسے ہو رقم احوال جفا, آدان ستم کچھ ایسا کیا, آدان ستم کچھ ایسا کیا, قاسم کا جسد پامال ہوا, بے حال ہوئی ام فرما, قاسم کا ماتم واویلا, بے کس کا ماتم واویلا, قاسم کا غم ہے کبرا واویلا, ہے واویلا, واویلا, ہے واویلا, واویلا, جیو جیو ماشاءاللہ, سلامت رہیں واویلا, ہے اے میری بی بی, اے میری بی بی, تیرے در پہ استغاثہ ہے, تیرا ممنون میری شہزادی, یہ جہاں سارا ہے, یا زہرا, یا زہرا, یا جو کا تو ہمیں حفظ اور امان دے دے, اپنی چادر کا سائبہ دے دے, تیری قدرت میں کیا نہیں بی بی, تو جسے چاہے دو جگہ دے دے, یا حسین, حسین, یا زہرا, زہرا یا زہرا. سن کے ماتھا اٹھائے گا. تیرا دربار وہ سخی در ہے, تیرا دربار وہ سخی در ہے, ہر فرشتہ جہاں گداگر ہے. تیرے مقروض آسماں والے, تیرا مقروض ہر سمندر ہے. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا. فرش مجلس پہ اور مصلی پہ ہر جگہ کہہ رہا ہے رو رو کر, ہم رہے نہ رہے مگر بی تا قیامت رہے غمِ سرور. یا زہرا یا زہرا سارے کشور کا جواب دے گا. تجھ کو امت نے یوں ستایا ہے, تجھ کو امت ستایا ہے, مرگ محسن پہ بھی رلایا ہے, مرگ محسن پہ ہے. تجھ کو بابا کے بعد امت نے ہائے دربار میں بلایا ہے. یا زہرا یا زہرا یا یا محمد وآل محمد صلوات. آئیے آخر میں آج یوم ابوالفضل عباس ہے, پورے خلوص کے ساتھ آپ نے اتنی دیر یہاں ماتم کیا, مجلس پڑھی, جناب زہرا کا نوحہ پڑھا ہے. آئیے ابوالفضل عباس کی خدمت میں جناب زہرا کا واسطہ دے کر استغاثے کی کچھ شعر پیش کریں. سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم, ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں. سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم, ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں. تم بھی نہیں ہم کو ٹھکرانا, تم بھی نہیں ہم کو ٹھکرانا, ہم دنیا کے ٹھکرائے ہیں. عباس عباس یا ابوالفضل العباس, عباس عباس یا اب سار سہارے ٹوٹ چکے, ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے. اب سار سہارے ٹوٹ چکے, ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے. تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو, تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو, ہم غم سے بہت گھبرائے ہیں. عباس بلند آواز میں اور اشکوں کی زباں پہچانتے ہو, اشکوں کی زباں پہچانتے ہو, جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو. اشکوں کی زباں پہچانتے ہو, جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو. ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو بس ہاتھوں کو پھیلائے ہیں سقائے حرم رکھ لینا برم ہم در پہ تمہارے عباس کی صدا بلند آواز میں عباس عباس مولا 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 تم باب حوائج ہو مولا تم باب حوائج ہو روزے پہ انہیں بھی بلوا لو مولا تم باب حوائج ہو روزے پہ انہیں بھی بلوا لو غربت کے سبب جو آ نہ سکے ہم ان کے عریضے لائے ہیں عباس عباس یا بلبل اور کھا کھا کے تماچے روتی ہے آئیے ابو الفضل عباس کو سب سے بڑا واسطہ دیتے ہیں سب سے عزیز واسطہ دیتے ہیں کھا کھا کے تماچے روتی ہے زندان کی خاک پہ سوتی ہے کھا کھا کے تماچے روتی ہے زندان کی خاک پہ سوتی ہے بجھ جائے پیاس سکینہ کی بجھ جائے پیاس سکینہ کی ہم آنکھ میں آنسو لائے ہیں سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے بر محمد والے محمد صلوات
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أنصار الحسين وعلى أخيك أبو الفضل العباس باب الحوائج سكاي سكينة وأخت زينب وأم كلثوم وبنتك سكينة السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين السجاد السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباكر السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر القاضم السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا وعلى أخت فاطمة المعصومة السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي الجواد السلام عليك يا محمد الهادي النقي السلام عليك يا سيدنا بن علي الزكي العسكري السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان سيدي الأمان 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 السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته